Okay, so this is was a fan question. Well, somebody asked me to do it. Let me see who. This person. What if Deku and Jiro were twins, and Deku's last name would be Jiro? So yeah. So I decided to. Now they're still going to be twins, but you will understand what happened to Deku. When it happens. So I don't know who Jiro's parents are in general. I'm pretty sure it they said Jiro's parents like twice in the whole anime. I only seen them once, and that's when I think they was going to ask the parents for the dorms. So I don't know what their quirks are or who they are in general. I forgot. So let's just say they don't have that much money, and they ended up having twins. But the doctor, well, when the whole time they thought they were only having a daughter, so they really wasn't ready for another twin. So they gave him a random name, calling him Azuku Jiro, because they really didn't think of the last name. I don't know if Jiro's her last name or first name. I think it's her last name since everybody's called by their last name, I think. Yeah, okay. So his name would be Azuki Jiro, and I I don't know Jiro's full name, but whatever. Whatever Jiro's first name is and uh, last name same Jiro, and they automatically get as soon as Deku hit 3, even before he gets his quirk, they were already treating Deku like trash and like he doesn't belong. But he had his twin sister, and that's all he needed. So he really didn't care. But even though he had his twin sister, sometimes he would get sad. But his twin sister would just sing him a song to make him feel better, making him kind of like music. But at the age of 4, Jiro would get her quirk, and Deku would get a quirk, but the quirk doctor would say it was weak. Jiro still gets the same quirk that she does in the anime, but Deku, he gets a quirk almost like President Mike's, where it evolves around his voice, but it's not a mutation, so he can turn it off and on. It's almost like Jiro's, but he can plug his lung or his heartbeat into his voice, making a sonic boom. Basically, it's just like Jiro can, but it instead of coming out of her um, little like shoe thingies and then making the sonic boom. I don't even know how that thing worked. Don't exactly remember because I know she plugged her quirk into her shoes, and then a sonic boom would happen, and it would make her ears bleed. That's literally all I remember from her quirk. But Deku doesn't even have that backlash. Actually, no. Let's make Deku deaf in this, so he would have that backlash, but it doesn't happen since he can't hear. So Deku only can talk, but he can't hear people. So he always carries around a notebook, and he tells people he can't hear, and he just asks them to write down what they're wanting to say. So Jiro couldn't sing him a song, so he really can't be interested into music because he can't hear. Because I'm pretty sure Jiro's parents were singers, making Jiro's parents not even like him more since he can't become a singer since he can't talk that good because he can't hear his own voice, meaning he can't talk that good. So that automatically means he can't become a singer in the future. So after he gets his quirk, the quirk doctor thinks that it's weak just because it's not a mutation, and it looks nothing like his twin sisters, basically, and his twin sisters just looks and sounds stronger. So the quirk doctor says he has a weaker quirk. And in this universe, I'm just gonna call it a universe for now. Um, Quirks are basically everything. Only 1% of the population doesn't have quirks, and in that universe, if you don't have a quirk, you might as well just basically like go die because like you're about to get picked on because only 1% of the universe doesn't have a quirk. And when they hear Deku's quirk is weak, the quirk doctor automatically asks, "Do you want to pick him up for adoption?" They say no, and the quirk doctor says, "Are you sure?" They say, "Yeah, we're sure." And they take him home and tell him to pack a bag, and they take him to his grandma's house. And his grandma acts like she wants him, but she really doesn't. So he stays there for a week, and his grandma teaches him how to cook and make bows and make arrows and basically and use a med kit, basically first aid kit. And she gives him 5 med kits, first aid kits or whatever. Gives him a bow that she made and some arrows and a little bit of rations, and she taught him how to hunt. Let's say that too. And she taught him how to hide his heartbeat and match his breathing with any animal or other people, so he knows how to mask his presence. Just like Toma likes to say, but Gon, he can match it, hide his presence basically like Gon too. Ooh, I just thought of another what if idea I'm about to do after this. It isn't that obvious, but it will come out right after this. Anyway, so Deku is kicked out of his grandma's house, and he only has his quirk, which makes a lot of noise, but he doesn't know that, and his bow, and his arrows. To him, his quirk is very quiet, and he can only hear a little bit of it. And to everybody else around him, his quirk is almost 10 times louder than Jiro's, but since he can't control it because he can't hear, so he can't learn how to control it. It makes it weaker, and it makes it more louder since he can't control the frequently, and it makes it unable to like target stuff basically, and it's more like a loud explosion of sound, but it still sends out the shock waves. It's just that they're weaker since it's more like an explosion of sound because he can't target at one thing. And before he was kicked out, he still was into heroes, and he still got that hero complex. Well, not hero complex, but the hero heart, just like regular Izuku Midoriya has. And he lives out in the woods for. Okay, so I said he got kicked out when he was 4. I mean 3. No, when he was 4. He lived with his grandma for a week. So he lived in the forest, let's say, for 11 years. And he finally found his way back out of the forest. And he was pretty dirty because he didn't know that much about stuff. And he bumps into Inko Midoriya. And Inko Midoriya sees that he is wearing a tiger, basically jacket made out of actual tiger fur, and some like ripped pants, like very bad ripped pants, and some shoes. And he's actually really, really buff for his age because he's only 11, I said. So, and Inko sees that he doesn't look like he's eating very good. He sees that it looks like he I don't know why I keep saying she has only eaten like just enough to survive. So Inko, not being able to have any child, was actually about to go to the adoption center to go adopt, but she decides to pick up this I can't speak, orphan child, this homeless child. It seems to her. She takes him to the police office center after giving him a shower and changing. His lion jacket was actually all the way down to his feet, but he still had a ripped, well, not too ripped, but a lot, like a very dirty shirt. And let's say the back was actually ripped because a animal attacked him, making him use his quirk, making more animals come attack him. But that's the point. And his shoes were too big, and his feet were kind of sticking out, and he had holes up in them. So she decides to buy him some more clothes. But when she tries taking off the lion jacket, she can't because Deku won't let her. And Deku actually forgot how to speak. Inko tries talking to him, and Deku runs around looking for a notebook and barely can write this, but he writes "I can't hear" in very, very sloppy handwriting. Inko, seeing how sloppy his handwriting is, and being very curious because where's his parents and why is he wearing a lion coat and why is he very dirty? She talks to him, well, tries to talk to him by the writing, and he explains that he got kicked out from a very young age, and all he really knows is the woods and how to survive. Ingo, feeling bad for him, takes him home and cleans him up and buys him some new clothes. Then Deku finally takes off this jacket, but when Inko tries to throw it in the trash, he takes it out the trash and puts it in his new room Inko wrote down. And Deku, he will learn how to hear eventually, just because I don't feel like he should be deaf for the whole story. But he won't. He'll be deaf for, let's say, all the way to the Stain arc, and then he'll learn something about his quirk, making him able to hear, but not right now. And he basically is wearing this jacket with not like ripped jeans on accident. But ripped jeans on purpose, so the rips are actually decent and they don't look dirty. And then Inko takes him to the police station, looks for his parents. His parents are actually not found, giving him the name, and he said he still remembers his name is he only remembers his last name, which is Jiro. And Inko decides to give him a new first name, but little does she know, she gives him the same exact first name, Izuku. So Izuku Jiro is still going to be his name, but his full name is going to be Izuku Jiro Midoriya, changing his last name to Midoriya. Well, he can go by Jiro and Midoriya since it depends on what he feels like saying. And he basically lives there and goes back to school. He has to start off in pre-K because that's like last record of him ever going to school. He ends up getting skipped up all the way to Bakio's grade, meeting Bakio picking on him because he is deaf. Deku really not caring since he is used to it. Bakio picking a fight with Deku a lot, but Deku really isn't bothered because he has fought worse creatures, making his physical strength almost stronger than 100% non-injured All Might. But it's only like, let's say, 50% of non-injured All Might. Let's see. Where do I want this to go? Okay, so the Sludge Villain attack. Deku is still attacked by the Sludge Villain, but he defeats the Sludge Villain by charging up his lungs and his heartbeat into one attack, making a loud enough sonic boom to crack like the wall and make some of the bridge fall down. Not a lot. All Might jumps out of the bridge. I think there was sewers he was there in, and says, "Was that you? What?" Like he says, "What's your quirk?" Deku says in a muffled voice, barely able to speak voice, he can't hear. All Might barely understanding, saying, "Oh." Deku pulls out his notebook, writes down, "Can I have an autograph?" and double taps the back, getting All Might's autograph. All Might saying he has to go because he's running out of time. Deku writes down in a hurry, I have a question. All Might not seeing this jumps off. Izuku jumps on to All Might's legs just like in canon. And when All Might lands, he goes back into his Small Might form. Almost, but basically just like in canon. But this time, Izuku isn't really that shocked. Let's say he already seen All Might's Small Might form when he was in the forest, because All Might had to fight a villain in the forest, and he poofed into his Small Might form, making Izuku already know about the Small Might form, so he's really not shocked. He writes down his same question, almost even dodging the fact that All Might just turned into a skeleton right in front of him. All Might's pretty shocked, and he doesn't ask, but when Izuku hands him back the notebook, and he says, "Why are you not shocked?" I just basically turned into a skinny form of myself, and he says, "I already seen this form while I was in the woods," and All Might asks, "What do you mean?" Deku basically explains what he means, and then they hear an explosion in the background. Deku, being mad because he still didn't get to ask his question, he basically jumps off the building, making as quiet as possible sonic boom, but it was still pretty loud because he can't control it to stop him from taking any fall damage, basically from injuring his legs from the jump because he just jumped off a building. Runs to go see what was the issue. All Might looking for the sludge filling bottle so he can start walking to see if that was what the problem was, and he realizes that he dropped the sludge filling. All Might feeling really guilty because he feels like it's his fault. Izuku getting to the scene of the crime, I guess you can say, saying that it was a sludge filling, making him feel guilty, making him run out just like in canon. But this time, instead, he charges up as loud as he can, sonic boom, making a whole crater where he was standing, and cracks all around him, making the sludge falling fly off of Bakio, and making some people around him have bloody ears. All Might sees this and turns back into his buff form so he can go collect the sludge filling, and then he jumps off. All Might seeing this, he says this might be a good session for my work. I'm not giving it to Mirio, so if I don't give it to Izuku, I'm going to give it to like Kirishima or something, because Mirio, it could literally kill him. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. Anyway, Deku, he trains for the 10 months, not with All Might, but All Might is keeping his eye on him. He goes to a remote place. No, let's say he goes back to the woods where he was basically raised by himself, and he tries doing quiet, targeting burst. Know the training that I forgot her name. What's that one girl's name that couldn't control her magic in Asta? In Black Clover. I forgot her name. No, basically Noelle. Yeah, doing the same training that Noelle was doing, trying to hit the tree on the target, but instead Deku keeps doing the explosion, and he gets mad. And at the 10 months of training, he finally is able to do 5 targets in blast before he can't control it anymore, and it goes back into explosions. And he goes and takes the interest of them, and I kind of want to leave it off there, so let me see how long I have left. Oh, I didn't start a timer.